welcome to this week's episode of Healthy Dogs Eats with Dr. Kaz. And me, I'm Kim Bachati. If this is your first time viewing, he only wears his hat for a few seconds for the opening. But we did get him a bandana because his jowls, he's getting all his beard all dirty here. But today what we're going to do is we're actually going to do something a little bit different. Well, I shouldn't say different. As you know, our shows are very informative and we want you to learn something not only about the dogs, but about cooking itself and what's good for them and what's not, and different tips and tricks. Our whole goal is to be able to have you so you can start giving your dog other things and cancer preventing things. You know, as we've talked about in the past, 25%, if you can just replace 25% of your dog's original food right now, whether you're feeding them kibble, this will help in their aid of cancer prevention for them. What's the matter, bud? There's something, don't eat the food, we're talking. So the biggest thing that I have found, I wanted to make a shrimp recipe. Let me take a step back. I wanted to make a shrimp recipe. And you can't cook shrimp without garlic. I mean, no matter what you do, I tried. I tried a couple different things, and I just wasn't happy with the way it turned out. So I decided, well, you know, the controversy over garlic is so high. Let's find out really what it is, how it is, and let's see if we can make this shrimp dish. So what I did was I began researching, is garlic good for dogs? Is garlic not? And there's a lot of information out there. What I found is it actually is good for dogs. But there was a study done in 2000 by, I think it was K.W. Lee. And he was testing dogs, and what he was doing, he was using actually garlic extract. And he was giving the dogs the equivalent value of, like, say, a 75-pound golden retriever, like 4 to 5 heads, like big giant heads of garlic. And they gave it to him for 7 days. Well, if I fed 4 to 5 heads a day, I mean, that's like 60 cloves of garlic. To a 75-pound dog, yeah, there's going to be a reaction. And that's really what has started this whole garlic phase. Garlic has a lot of good properties for dogs. Now, remember, there's certain dogs that can't have garlic. You know, obviously puppies, dogs, you know, new moms, lactating moms, that kind of things. And I'm sure that there's some out there where they recommend, you know, if your dog has certain illnesses, not to give it garlic. All our shows are based on, remember, healthy adult dogs, and that's what we're going by. If you have any question of anything, always please make sure you go back and check your veterinarian, or check with your veterinarian. But some of the capabilities that garlic has as far as building our immune system, you can even take garlic and mix it with olive oil, and it works great for ear infections and ear mites. I mean, it works on giardia. Now, if your dog has ever been a lake dog, a dog that, you know, is out in ponds and stuff like that, you know, giardia is a common thing. It's common for puppies, it's common for dogs to get. It's very, very hard to get rid of. And it's it's not so bad as much for the dog other than their tummy feels kind of rumbly, but for us cleaning up the poop, it's a mess. So nonetheless, we're going to talk a little bit more on our site. You know, like I said, with this week's recipe, you'll find all this information about the garlic. I use a website called Dogs Naturally Magazine. They've been doing this for over 20 years, and I've got a couple other different sites that I referenced. And they actually are I trust them because there's a lot of veterinarians, a lot of canine nutritionists that write articles for their site. So I really kind of believe that garlic is good for the dogs. But we'll talk about some other things that you have to worry about, not worry about, but to do to make sure that the garlic is right. Because remember, we're talking about raw garlic. Raw garlic and cooked garlic is two totally different things. But we need to get our food started because this is a super, super quick dish this week. Basically, we're just going to make a shrimp with some veggies, obviously Italian because I always kind of lend to go to that. We're going to do some zoodles. We're going to do some spinach, some San Marzano tomatoes, sweet peppers, shiitake mushrooms, some basil, and of course our sheep's cheese, our pecorino romano, along with our garlic and parsley. I've already steamed our shrimp up, so this is ready to go for it. We've got it in there. You can kind of see it. I threw some parsley and some oregano on top just a few minutes ago. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to set this aside, and we're going to get everything else kind of going here for us this morning. Our first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do like we've done on some of our other dishes. We're going to make our oil. And if you choose to put this on the dog's food, great. If you choose not to, that's great too. Because once again, our mission is we'd love for you to come home from work and just go ahead and make dinner and have dinner with the dog. I mean, that to me is just kind of cool. Like if you saw our show, how we did the party with the cake and it's a lot of fun and they enjoy it. And it's kind of like you've got your kids there with us, right? we have kids for dinner, right? All right, Bubba. All right, let's get going here. So we are, as I said, we're going to work with our oil, and we're going to get that going. And we're basically just doing like a kind of a glorified dipping oil. And I'm going to put in, maybe about 3 tablespoons of that, just kind of like that. And we're going to infuse this. Now we are going to put in some of the garlic, and I'm actually going to put some stuff in first and let it get going, so then we can talk. I want to tell you how, because garlic is also really good for fleas and ticks. So that is something as well if you choose to do this. So once again, do your research, kind of take a look at what we've got. Right now I'm just putting in some dried spices, some basil, and some oregano. And I'm actually going to, this time for this, I think I'm going to use just a little touch of garlic powder, because I'm going to use very little garlic in this as far as our minced garlic that we used. Just a little touch. And I think we're even going to put a little bit of the peppers in there. Now, obviously we'd love to put crushed red peppers, but that's obviously something you cannot give dogs. So we're just going to put a little bit of the regular sweet bell peppers in, because that's really good for them as well. We're going to do 1 turn of salt, which is sea salt. This is the only salt a dog is allowed to have. And then we're going to pop in just a little bit of this minced garlic, and I'm going to show you how we did this. I'm just going to put just a little bit in. And we're probably more than likely going to pull this out of, if we even put any on Cosmos's, and a touch of some parsley. And we're going to let that kind of just go as we talk and continue to get some of our other things that we're going to be doing. So if I go back to the garlic, when I'm talking about giving your dog raw garlic, what you want to do is you actually want a head of garlic. You want to get it this way. You want to get from the cloves right away. You don't want to use this kind of garlic. You're not going to get the medicinal properties that you would for it. You're going to take your garlic, you're going to do it, and you're going to let it mince. And what you're going to do is, actually you can use a really cool thing, because my daughter says I can't chop garlic fine enough. And I'm going to show you how easy this is. It's a garlic press. And this is super, super simple. Now look at the garlic. Now you would think that that is basically you would chop it up. But there's actually a coating on that garlic, and I'm going to show you how easy. This is a garlic press, so I'm going to just put it in there. You're going to squeeze it, and you see how the garlic comes right out. And then you're just going to take it off. Now, look at what's inside. Paper. That was the coating on the outside of that garlic. So that's why they say a lot of times you lose those properties. So if you get this, it's super easy. You're guaranteed that they're all going to be the same size. So it's very, very easy to give your dog and to measure. Because if you are going to do for flea and ticks, basically it's a teaspoon of garlic for every 30 pounds of a dog. And we've got all that on our website, on the listing there, that you can be able to get all that information as far as that goes. So once again, this is the way that you get it. And you have to be able to do it where it's got to sit for 10 minutes. There's 2 compounds in the garlic. It's alin and I believe alinus. And then if that sits for 10 minutes, it forms a different compound, and that is the compound that actually has the medicinal properties in garlic and has all these great things to do. So I wanted to learn a little bit about it to find out if it was okay for us to use. Cooking it dilutes it, so we know that we're going to be okay and safe with it. We know we're going to be okay and safe with him for his size, his health, his weight. Once again, always check. And please go and read the articles from the different sites that we compiled, because they really are very, very interesting. You know, you've got the vets that are very, very different. You've got vets that are more homeopathic and holistic, and then you've got vets that are very traditional. And all is well, and all has their place in medicine. But it's one of those where people are kind of set in their ways. So you may go ask your vet, and you're maybe absolutely not. Even the AKC site says avoid garlic. And I think a lot of people do that because liability issues, and they don't want anything kind of going that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this go. We're going to get up our tomatoes, our spinach, and our shiitake mushrooms kind of going right in here. And why don't we take a little break, and we'll be right back. The most important thing in determining your dog's mood is this little thing right here. This will tell you how they're feeling. If it's wagging, don't always think that wagging tail means a dog that is just happy to see you. He just may be happy to see you just to eat you. Tucked under tail means he's fearful. a straight down tail. It means he's very, very cautious. So there's a lot of different things that the tail can mean. So you just have to make sure that you pay attention to their signs, right? Give them a treat, find out if they'll take it. That'll also help you find out if they're stressed. And if that's the case, you know that you may need to change your environment. That's just another empowered puppy bite. All right, guys, well, welcome back. What we've got going here right now is we've got our San Marzano tomatoes, we've got our shiitake mushrooms, and we've got our sweet bell pepper, and we've got that sauteing in just a little bit of light oil. We did put some dry basil and some dry oregano on. Our other oil is still over here simmering. I threw a little bit of Parmesan cheese, or not Parmesan, Pecorino Romano cheese. And remember, that's the better cheese for the dog because it's sheep cheese. And the dogs, majority of them are really lactose intolerant. So we can give them what they need from the start, it's better off. And it's actually really kind of good for us. And that adds a ton of flavor. Ton of flavor. So what we've got is we've got this going down now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some spinach. And I kind of waited till last because spinach will wilt down tremendously. So you can pile it all up as I get it all over the place here. And the heat will make it kind of wilt right down. So we're going to let this go, and then we're going to do what we call is our Zoodles. And Zoodles has been like kind of a trend going around as far as, you know, with the zucchini and so forth. And this is actually, I'd used it with the spiralizer. This is actually just 2 big zucchini. And it replaces pasta. It is great for the veggies. But we want to make sure with zucchini for the dogs that we do cook it slightly. Zucchini is 90% water. And it's something that their body has a hard time digesting as far as if we're going to give it to them raw. A lot of times you'll see people, oh, just cut a zucchini up and give them to the dog. Well, it's okay if it's 1 or 2. But if you start giving them off and popping a lot off, it's going to have a hard time digesting it. You're going to hear their belly rumbling a little bit later. But I've got a good immune booster in here with our lycopene from our tomatoes, our shiitake mushrooms, you know, with our spinach and all the different things that we've kind of got in here going. So we're really kind of going with our digestive tract and the shrimp. And the shrimp is wonderful for the dogs. So we're going to kind of compile all this together and get it going. I think I'm going to switch this plan out. We'll take our oil off. We need another stove here or something. We'll put this one on this, and then we're going to get our Zoodles going in another pan. Now, since they are so much water, we don't want to add more liquid. I want to dry them out a little bit. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to heat up my pan just a little bit for a few seconds, and then I'm going to put them in there because I want the water to kind of like steam up, rise, and evaporate out. So it's going to draw out some of the water. Another way you can do that is you can actually put a little bit of salt on it, and you can let them stand for about 20 minutes or so, and that will help pull out some of the moisture. You can kind of press them out in a towel to be able to fill it, because if you go to use this in some kind of a sauce, or, you know, we could actually emulsify this, and basically, I need to turn this up so my spinach gets started melting here. We could actually emulsify that if we wanted to, put a little burr mixer in, and we can kind of bring it down to a, you know, almost like a marinara sauce if we wanted. But we're going to kind of leave things full and chunky right now. But as I was saying earlier about the shrimp has got tons of protein for the dogs. And when you are home cooking for your dog, you want to make sure that you are really going about 2/3 protein, and then you're going to go the rest, you know, it can be like really 1/3 vegetable. And really, that's really a good rule of thumb for yourself as well. But we're going to let this go. We've got it up on high. We want to cook this for about a minute or 2. And we're going to wilt this down a little bit more. And then what we're going to do is we're going to toss everything. We'll bring our shrimp into this pan. We'll put our noodles on our plates. And we'll be right back. And you can see it all plated up and taste it up with us with Cosmos.
Did you know that your puppy or your dog can actually imitate your actions? Puppies and dogs have the ability to form a mental representation in their head of what you just did. You could actually teach them to copy you. And that's just another empowered puppy bite.
Welcome back, guys. I also wanted to give a shout out to Alex's son. He was here visiting Raymond. He's going to get one of our lab puppies, his family is, and he made me this wonderful picture and brought me these wonderful flowers. So I just wanted to say thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I know Ray's going to be a great puppy for you guys. So we are off to tasting. So what we did was, as you saw, we took our zucchini zoodles and we layered it on top. We added a little bit of basil, a little bit of the pecorino cheese, and put our oils on Christine and mine, but we didn't put it on Cosmos's. So we're going to give it to Cosmos right now and see what he thinks of the shrimp. I know he likes the cheese. Hey, bud, are you ready? It's time to eat. It's time to eat. Cosmos is a very picky eater, so it's one of those, we've determined he's a savory boy. He doesn't like sweets as much, although he did like his carrot cake, and he's looking like he's liking the shrimp. So thanks for watching, guys, and you can get our recipes at empoweredpups.com. You can sign up for our healthy newsletter, and we always are trying to tackle whatever information we can get and find out there and share it with you so we can keep these guys around a lot longer, because they're our whole entire lives, and this cancer is something that we got to beat, and we hope that you learned something and can help your dog as well. Thanks for watching.